Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunchtime Chat. Are you as excited as I am about the warmer weather? While it's my favorite time of year, I was recently reminded about how important it is for me to start implementing my seasonal hair care regimen. And I figured that you would appreciate being warned about some of the things that can go wrong. Well, towards the end of the broadcast, I will be discussing upcoming industry events. So if you are a professional, don't miss out. There will be time sensitive information that I will share that will help you to learn more about the science of hair care. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Crystal Porter, and I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, which is a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people of African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair professionals with education that is driven and backed by scientific research. So, before we get started, I would love to learn who is out there with me today and know who you are, in addition to where you're watching from by putting it in the chat. So let me make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hello, really appreciate you coming. Now, I would love to also know where you are, well, what your background is. So if you are a hair practitioner, put in the number one. If you are a consumer, put the number two. And if you are a researcher or a scientist, such as myself, put in the number three. Also, don't be stingy. Make sure that you like and share this broadcast. How you doing, Taria? Appreciate you coming, and you are watching from the VI. All right, the Virgin Islands. Awesome. Now, if you have wasted a lot of money, time, and resources just trying to figure things out on your own, then you are in the right place. And that is why we have created the Our Black Hair Matters movement. And I have put together a very valuable resource called The Three Biggest Mistakes to Avoid When Caring for Your Curly Hair. And you can go to ourblackhairmatters.com in order to retrieve that. Hey, Margaret, thanks for coming in Atlanta. And you are a researcher and scientist. Awesome. And then Veronica, number two, awesome. Thank you for joining as a consumer. And then you are in Chicago. Awesome. Now, if you have a pressing concern and you need to have a conversation, our team is definitely here for you. And you can schedule a 15-minute call by going to links.maininsights.com/appointment. I want to make sure there's no one else who has joined that I want to recognize. Let's see. Is someone who comes up as a Facebook user and you are identified as number two, so you are a consumer. Thank you so much for coming. It comes up as Facebook user sometimes when you haven't allowed my platform that I use to actually disclose who you are. So I apologize that I can't say anything to you by name. All right, Bloody Hannah, currently in Chicago. All right, thanks for coming. So I am going to jump right in. And this is going to be one of my shorter broadcasts, but I figured that it would be useful to come in just to share some information. So, about 2.5 weeks ago, Chicagoland went from weather from like the mid 60s to like record breaking temperatures in the 90s. It was like incredible. And some of you who may follow me personally may have seen that I have resumed a childhood activity of jumping double dutch in the 40 plus double dutch club. And so when the weather started breaking, we jumped outside for the first time of the season on this beautiful sunny day. And after I returned home, I could see that my scalp was inflamed from a sunburn. So even though I didn't think that I was out there that long and I didn't think the sun rays were particularly bad, I definitely felt the effects of it. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that I suffer from seborrheic dermatitis, and increased inflammation is the last thing that I need. So, my first potential disaster that we're going to talk about is not protecting your hair and scalp from the UV radiation that comes from the sun. So let's talk about that a little bit. So UV radiation has like three main energetic regions. You have UVA, UVB, and UVC, going from the longest to the shortest. Now, UVA has the longest wavelength, and that's between 320 and 400 nanometers. And it is particularly known to affect artificial color. So, if you color your hair, and it doesn't matter if it's a rinse, demi, semi, or a permanent color, then you are wanting to use products that protect your hair from the UVA radiation in particular. Now, UVB is shorter than UVA, and that's between 280 and, 280, 290 to 320 nanometers. And there are some amino acids in the hair, such as cysteine, tyrosine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan, that absorb in the UVB region. And some UVA also wavelengths, they form free radicals. And so this results in the hair becoming weak, feeling brittle, and rough. And so many people have pigmented hair, like me, mine is dark, or at least in new growth it is. And the melanin, which is known to have photoprotective properties for hair strands, when the sun attacks, instead of it having an effect on the strand, it'll actually destroy the melanin in hair. And so that leads to what's called photo bleaching. So if you like that sun bleached look, which a lot of people do, be aware of those natural highlights, and they can lead to weaker hair strands. Now, I talked about UVA, UVB, but let's talk just a little bit about the UVC radiation, because it has the shortest wavelength and it's usually lower than 280, 290 nanometers. It's the most dangerous, but thank goodness it is filtered out in the atmosphere for now, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, you may be wondering, what product should I be using? And I have to be honest, the only thing I can tell you to do is to look for products that state on the label that they protect against both UVA and UVB radiation for the hair and the scalp, because you don't want to be like me and get sunburned. And if you have seborrheic dermatitis, have to deal with the peeling that results. But anyway, um, I want to talk a little bit about some of the claims that I've seen for protecting against the sun. And it's interesting because I saw vitamin C, I saw lemon, I saw chamomile, and it was really weird because the holy grail is to find a brand that actually shows data along with the claims that it protects hair. But if you find that, you need to let me know, because I have not been able to find it myself. But the mention of some of those ingredients that are used to, or they mention that it's used to help prevent damage from the sun, it actually leads me to the next potential hair disaster, and that is having hair treatments. Because sometimes getting to that lemon that I just named as one of the ingredients that was used for a claim, some little girls would take lemon juice and then have it drip down their hair, and then they'll go out and play in the sun, and that would create the natural highlights from the sun interacting with the lemon juice, because there's an oxidation reaction that happens, and so it lightens the hair. And so even though it lightens it, it becomes damaged and weaker as well. So needless to say, it's difficult for me to imagine that an ingredient that claims to protect your hair from the sun, actually, when it's known to do the opposite. So that's one of the things about claims and people, getting all happy because it's a natural ingredient, when sometimes it doesn't do anything like the label says. And that is why I'm a proponent for us to get the data, or to encourage anybody who manufactures product, whether it be, a small mom and pop shop, or if it's like one of the big industry leaders, always ask for the data, because that is important. So please share, Veronica says, please share the double Dutch information. You know what? it's amazing. It's now international. It's incredible. But when it comes to jumping double dutch, it's a childhood love that I had, and they have sub chapters everywhere. So it originated here in Chicago, and so I'm a part of the sub club in the Naperville, Aurora area. But they have Pullman is like the number one where they started it all, but they have some in the South Loop. I mean, it's clubs everywhere. So if you look up 40 plus double dutch, you can Google it and you can find information, I'm sure, because you're from Chicago. There are lots of sub clubs around you. So thanks for asking about that. Taria says, I never thought about that, protecting my hair and scalp from UV rays. Yeah. I never grew up even being told about that, but it's important. And so you hear, thank goodness now more, there's a lot of campaigns for people to find out about protecting your skin, but also hair is important too. So make sure that not only do you slather it on your body, you also slather it on your hair. So you are close to Pullman, thanks. Yes. And great group of ladies out there. So you're going to have fun. Okay. So I was talking a little bit about treatments. I was talking about the lemon, but the same goes for those who bleach your hair. If you have permanent color, or if you have a relaxer or perm, know that these compound treatments or these treatments are going to compound with the sun rays, and the hair's mechanical integrity is going to become even more compromised. So even though we have a lot of, we like to show the flare, we like to have all the treatments, just be aware that those treatments along with the sun can lead to weaker hair, or it does lead to weaker hair. And if you don't protect it or take care of your hair, then it can break more readily. Hey, Dorletta, thanks for coming. You said your cousin is a part of the Double Dutch group. Yes, it is so much fun. And needless to say, the workout is phenomenal. So when I am available on Saturday, so Dorletta, you are out here by me, come join me. I would love to bring you along. All right, so I'm going to move on to what used to be my favorite summer activity, and that is swimming. I mean, I used to love swimming. However, now, because of time restraints, and I have to be honest, I fall in the pool of people who just don't want to deal with their hair. And so while I am going to recommend that, the number one thing that you can do is prevent your hair from becoming wet in the first place. But any coily girl who has spent time in the pool and have gotten their hair wet knows the disastrous results that can come from it. And I often share a story about how I had to get all of my hair cut off just in time for senior pictures when I was in high school because of my swim class in high school. And so, as I said, the obvious is not to get your hair wet at all. And I know that's easier said than done, because sometimes you even put on a cap and you don't have the intention of getting your hair wet and it gets wet anyway. So, even though prevention is the best method of protecting your hair, let's be realistic. Sometimes it's going to get wet. Now, if you go in knowing that your hair is going to be wet in the first place, you can saturate your hair with water. And so the thought is to prevent the diffusion of the chlorine filled water. Then you fill the hair with clean water and it's already saturated. So then the chlorine won't go in, or it has less of a chance of going in because you already have those regions of the hair already filled with water. So that's one strategy that is true, but sometimes it's not practical to wet your hair in the first place. But if you do that, I would also use a swim cap as well. Now, you can also use a barrier, such as a thick conditioner that has waxes and polymers that will slow down the penetration of chlorine into your hair. And they also have products that can be used as a pre-treatment. Now, oftentimes they, again, have claims and they say, oh, this helps, but the data really is key. So if you are curious, one of the things that I highly recommend that you do, and that would help with the movement in terms of elevating the industry, and that is asking, just read on the back of the bottle. They have a number or a website. Ask them if they can provide data for you, because the more that we ask, the more that they'll be able well, the more readily it'll be there for us to make informed decisions. So Veronica says, I have considered the science behind hair. So swim. So I swim. What is a good moisturizer is okay for me to wash my hair daily? That's an excellent question. Thanks for asking, Veronica. So I would say that yes, it is okay to wash your hair daily. You just have to make sure that depending upon the type of hair that you have and how you manipulate or style it, that will dictate how much your hair can take. For example, I tell people all the time I have 4C hair, even though it's elongated because of my twist out. So this is just a a result from the type of twist that I wear, the products that I use to elongate the curls, and all of that. So for me to wash my hair every day, if I wanted to continue this look, I would have to spend a lot of time. However, if I had shorter hair or if I wore a puff, like just an Afro puff, then cleansing your hair every day is perfectly fine. But it is important that you decrease manipulation depending upon the tightness of your curl, because sometimes you having tighter curls leads to a predisposition of your hair being weaker, unfortunately. And the more you manipulate it, the more difficult it is for you to untangle. And then that force that you use to detangle the hair causes your hair to be weaker. So it really depends on what you're doing with it. And I'm buffering. Oh boy, that's not good. So I don't know why I'm buffering. So hopefully in the replay, it won't be doing this. All right. So the other thing that I want to say is there are swimming shampoos as well. So there was, when I was younger, there was this commercial that talked about get the chlorine out. And so even though I looked at some old patent applications, and they were talking about the technology that went into getting the chlorine out. And one of the things that they mentioned is that it is formulation dependent. And what that means is sometimes you can have a formula that has one type of cleansing agent versus another type of cleansing agent, and one cleansing agent will actually be more effective or have the active ingredient perform more effectively. And so I don't want to say that you should have a particular ingredient, especially if it's dependent upon the formulation. So that's even more reason why we have to have data, right? So just people making claims that, oh, it has this ingredient that helps to get the chlorine out, that is not enough. And so that is, make sure, hopefully I have stopped buffering. But the other preventable disaster that I want to leave you with is resisting your curls or taming them too much. Because it's one thing to manage your hair, and it's another thing just to do way too much. And so let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. So in the summertime, the humidity starts to go up, and we are oftentimes wanting to still look good, right? We want to make sure our hair is laid. And oftentimes, and I've seen it already, people are resisting those curls and they're wanting to pull their hair just too tight in a bun. And so when you pull the hair too tight, sometimes it can lead to traction alopecia. And that is something that you don't want to do. Also, sometimes if the hair starts to bead up a little bit, for me, I embrace my curls. And if it starts to, come out of whatever, like if I pull it and it's starting to bunch up or swell up on me, I just let it do what it does. And I know that that isn't what a lot of people like, but that's what my hair needs. The other thing is the overuse of gels and waxes. Sometimes we have gels that we just slather on the sides and try to keep our hair tamed, and those waxes, and then we just leave them there without cleansing the hair. And that is not cool. You want to make sure that you have, oh, my kitty wants to say hello. You want to make sure that the gels and the waxes are cleanse, because it can really prevent your scalp from breathing and from growing the hair effectively, and it can also lead to other scalp problems. Also, have to talk about the summer hair. And oftentimes when we go on vacation or summertime, we have braids, right? So we have extensions, we pull the hair too tight. So you want to make sure that you prevent that as well. And here is the kitty. Want to say hi? And so there are loosely fitting clips that can help. And that's something that I'm actually wearing right now. I have a clip and I let my hair, kind of relax. It does not pull tight. And that is what I recommend so that you are not damaging your hair follicle. So if there aren't any more questions, I want to say, let me see, we have something. Hi, Dr. Porter. Oh, hey, how you doing, Troy? Good to see you. Oh, and you're talking about the cat. Lord have mercy. So I did not close my door like I normally do, and she pushed her way through. But in summary, to prevent summer hair disasters, number one is to save your hair and scalp with products that protect against UVA and UVB radiation. Also, you should be careful when you have different hair treatments. So you don't want to compound the problems with not protecting your hair in the sun when you particularly have relaxers or color or perm. Also, try to keep your hair dry when you swim in a pool, but if you can't, make sure you protect it with some type of a product barrier like a wax and other polymers in the product. And if you do get the hair wet, use a swimming specific shampoo and conditioner and try to look for data if it's out there. Um, oh, it's a she. Yes, you're talking about the cat. Yes, Taria, we have two female cats. I call them COVID cats because we wanted to, yeah, started off fostering and ended up having two cats. So, and then lastly, just accept those coils. Avoid pulling the hair in a tight configuration, slathering those gels, waxes, and butters. That's just not good over time for your scalp. So if there aren't any other questions, I said this was going to be a shorter one, so it is, but I want to make sure that I give some announcements. And so I mentioned last time that I was on live that I am expanding my research efforts and I am in need of tightly coiled hair from people of African descent. So if you want to get paid for cutting all of your hair off and you live in the Chicagoland area, you can go to links.maininsights.com/curly hair and you can see if you qualify. And if you do, then I will be reaching out and you can get paid for your hair. Also, if you are a hair professional and will be attending Premier Orlando, which is on actually it's June 4th, 5th, and 6th, you can come out to my class at 2:30 Eastern Time on June 5th. And I will be letting you know how you can make more money by learning more about your clients and positioning yourself to have a real scientific impact on the industry. The other thing that I added is I will be giving away a valuable resource that will help you to diversify product offerings and will allow you to make more money. And I've been told, I shared what I was going to be giving away, and I was told that it was a blueprint that was worth at least $1,000. I was like, wow, okay. So if you come to my class during Premier Orlando, then you'll be getting something that's worth a minimum of $1,000. Now, if you are watching the replay, be sure to post your comments and your questions. It's one announcement that I forgot to say. The other announcement is if you are a hair professional and you have been a student of mine, I am getting a group discount for the Textile Research Institute hair symposium that they're doing, and it's all online. So you will be getting an email about that. And it's a really good group discount. You'll save more than half if you just reach out to me. I can get you in the symposium and you will stay abreast of all the latest research when it comes to hair, so that if you roll with me, you know that I am an advocate for education, and that is something that I feel is extremely important for you to be kept abreast of what's going on. Now, Troy says, when I blow my hair straight, then wash to return to my afro. My afro looks like a cat has been licking it. Oh my Lord. My cat gets relaxed from your curl gets relaxed from the heat. Okay. But not wanting to make it snap back. Okay. I love my natural hair because of the versatility. Great question, Troy. Thank you for asking that. Ooh, that heat damage. Yeah. Um, a lot of times when we add heat, we inadvertently denature the hair. And what that means is that you're changing the structure of the hair fiber. Many people say, oh, I'm not going to put any chemical treatment on the hair, not knowing that sometimes just heat or UV radiation can change the structure all by itself. And so when it comes to that, Troy, the best thing to do is to use the lowest setting that you can use and still get achieve that degree of straightness. A lot of practitioners do not test the hair to see the lowest setting that it can endure and still be straight. But that is something that I truly advocate for. And they have like patch tests that you can do when you are wanting to get your hair um, um, like colored or bleached. Sometimes they'll take some hair and they'll do like a little test treatment. But if you have more of a propensity for your hair straightening or that heat damage, then I strongly recommend that you save hair strands. I did a video a long time ago where I was talking about how before I got my hair color, I wanted to test the actual brand that was being used. And I did a quote unquote patch test, so to speak. But I just saved my hair strands until I had enough where I could color it and kind of see what the integrity of the hair was going to be like, because I knew that my hair was going to be compromised, or the mechanical integrity of it was going to be compromised. And I wanted to make sure that I could see what was going on. So save those strands, see what your hair can endure, and you can actually test it and see if it's going to revert back or not. So that's important. Is there any deal breakers to participate? I wonder. Oh, I love to chop it, but I have scalp psoriasis. Hmm. Oh, you're talking about participate in the hair collection. Yes, there are some deal breakers because I need natural hair. And so if your hair has been treated, then unfortunately I would not be able to use it. But I do understand the scalp psoriasis. Make sure that you see a dermatologist for that. Um, or you can schedule a complimentary 15-minute consultation and we can guide you in the right direction. My team is really good at dealing with different types of scalp ailments. So it's not a problem for you to get a little advice. So please reach out. All right. Thanks, Troy, for that question. And thank you for putting up the complimentary 15-minute consultation. And so if you watch the replay, be sure to post your comments and questions. And as you see, you can get a 15-minute consultation. So that's like perfect for you to ask that question. And so if there isn't anything else, I appreciate you joining me for the abbreviated broadcast today. And always remember that our Black hair matters. And as always, take care and love your hair. Bye-bye.